Hello, and welcome to another racket review video. Today is going to be a rather special video because I'm going to be talking about the Wilson 6.One 95. And as I'm sure many avid tennis fans will know, this is a very special racket because it's not just a racket you can buy from Tennis Warehouse or from most places, but instead this is one of the 5 rackets that Wilson has released as part of their new Pro Labs line. For a little bit of background about the entire Pro Labs program by Wilson, Wilson basically released 5 rackets that are very close to the rackets that the pros actually use. So the 6.One 95, which is the one that I'm using here, is one of them. And then there's also a 16 by 19 blade and an 18 by 20 blade. And for tennis nerds, although I'm sure you would know this by now, but those rackets are thought to be the H22s. There's also 2 Ultra Pros, which are also come in a 16 by 19 and 18 by 20 string pattern respectively, and those are thought to be the H19s. The racket that I'm currently using, the 6.One 95, apparently many pros use a frame very similar to this. Players include Bautista Agut, Kyle Edmund, Del Potro, and even Rublev before he switched to head. So clearly there's a very large variety of players that use this racket, and so it seems like there definitely should be a lot of good things about this racket that have made all these pros decide to use this racket. Now to get into a few specifics about the racket. The racket is strung with an 18 by 20 string pattern, and it comes in at a very hefty 332 grams according to the Wilson website. However, even though it's very heavy, while hitting with it, you don't feel the weight necessarily because it comes in at a very head-light balance of 12 points head-light. Another interesting thing I noticed about this racket was, as you can see in the picture, the throat of the racket, the V, is actually very small, and the bit under the throat of the racket that extends towards the grip is actually unconventionally long. I've actually gripped the overgrip much higher than where the grip beneath ends, but even with that, I think you can see just how long that portion of the racket is. And why they designed it this way, I'm not sure, and it's actually the only racket where I've seen this design take place. Moving on to talk about how the racket felt on court. I actually struggled a lot in the beginning, especially on the ground strokes. On my swing, I thought that the very head-light balance of the racket made it very difficult for me to feel comfortable, and it also meant that I was having a very difficult time finding good length on the ball, and I was dumping the ball into the net a lot more often than usual. I demoed this racket in total for about 6 days, and to be honest, while the racket started feeling a lot better towards the end, especially after day 3 or so, I still struggled from time to time even after that with the length and the balance of the racket. To fix this problem, I tried to add some lead tape at the 3 and 9 o'clock positions of this racket, kind of like how I did on the Yonex, which featured in my previous racket review video. However, perhaps because the racket already came in unstrung at 332 grams, I found that adding the lead tape didn't quite achieve the balance that I was looking for either. Looking at other aspects of my game, the place where I enjoyed this racket the most was at the net. And I guess that's something that would be expected, because given the very head-light balance of the racket, it generally means that the racket head is going to be very maneuverable, which should help volleys. And I found that that was indeed true in this case. On the serve, the racket definitely was not bad. I found that I was hitting my spots very well, although it definitely did not provide me with the most pop on the serve. All in all, I think I came to the conclusion that this probably wouldn't be the racket for me after about a day or 2 of hitting. However, I still decided to hit with the racket for the full length of the demo period, because I really wanted to see what this racket was about, and why so many pros call this their racket. And definitely, I would say, after 3 or 4 days of getting used to this racket, I could also see some benefits that this racket provides. For example, because of the 18 by 20 string pattern and the way the racket is designed, you're really able to take huge cuts and the ball will still stay in the court. So perhaps that's why huge hitters like Del Potro or Rublev before he switched to head use this racket. On the other hand, this racket definitely also suits someone that might have a bit of a more crafty game style where they like to slice and dice a lot more, come to the net, and that would suggest why someone like Dan Evans, for example, uses this racket. In conclusion, I would say that much unlike my previous review video of the VCore 95, this racket definitely is not a very easy to use racket, and I would not suggest a beginner or intermediate level player using this racket. However, if you are at an advanced level and you are looking for something to provide you with more control where you can take rips, or if you are on the craftier side, I definitely think that this would be an amazing racket for you to check out. I also wanted to end by saying, while this definitely wasn't my favorite racket of all time, I think Wilson had a great idea with this Pro Labs program because it enables like everyday tennis players to actually experience equipment close to what the pros use, which I think from the perspective of a tennis fan is such an exciting prospect. So yeah, if you liked my video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have you used this ProStaff 6.195 before? What did you think about it? Let us know.